Welcome, brave listeners, to Season 6 of our journey into the unknown, the Forest of the Forgotten. Remember our theme: the deeper you go, the louder the whispers become. Tonight, we venture into the heart of that theme with Episode 22, The Whispering Trees. Have you ever stood at the edge of a dense, ancient forest and felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature? Have you ever heard the wind rustle through the leaves and thought for just a moment that it sounded like a voice? The locals who live near this particular forest know that feeling all too well. They have a saying, a warning they pass down through generations. The wind here doesn't just howl, it speaks. It whispers the names of those who wander too far, those who get lost in its shadowy depths, a haunting lullaby for the vanished. They say if you listen closely enough, you can hear the forest calling to them, a spectral roll call of the souls it has claimed. It's a place where the barrier between the natural world and something much, much older is terrifyingly thin, and tonight, we're going to cross that line. Our story follows a young woman named Ella. She was a city girl, accustomed to the predictable noise of traffic and sirens, not the unnerving silence of the wilderness. But her younger brother, Leo, was an adventurer at heart. He was fascinated by the legends surrounding the forest and, against Ella's pleas, decided to explore it one sunny afternoon. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, a cold dread began to settle in Ella's stomach. Leo hadn't returned. Panic set in. Grabbing a flashlight, she drove to the trailhead, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She stepped out of her car and into the encroaching darkness. The air was still, heavy with the scent of damp earth and pine. The forest stood before her like a giant, sleeping beast, its entrance a gaping maw. Taking a deep breath, she plunged in. "Leo!" she called out, her voice trembling, swallowed almost immediately by the dense canopy above. "Leo, where are you?" Her flashlight beam cut a nervous path through the gnarled trees, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching for her. She pushed deeper, her calls becoming more desperate, more frantic. The silence that answered was more terrifying than any sound. It was an absolute, profound emptiness, as if the very air was holding its breath. She called his name again and again, her voice cracking with fear and exhaustion. "Leo!" she screamed, her throat raw. And then, it happened. From the deep woods to her left, a voice drifted back to her. "Ella!" It wasn't Leo's voice. It was her own. A perfect, chilling mimicry of her own desperate cry, as if the forest itself had recorded her voice and was now playing it back to her. A wave of pure, primal fear washed over her. Every instinct screamed at her to run. This wasn't natural. This was wrong. She spun around, ready to flee back the way she came, back to the safety of her car, back to civilization. But as she turned, a new sound began. It started as a faint murmur, like the rustling of 1,000 dry leaves, but it grew in volume and clarity with every passing second. It was coming from all around her, from every direction, from every single tree. A chorus of whispers, all speaking the same two words. A hypnotic, sinister invitation. "Stay with us." She clapped her hands over her ears, but it did no good. The whispers seemed to bypass her ears and seep directly into her mind, a sibilant, inescapable chant. "Stay." One tree to her right seemed to breathe the word. "Stay." Another behind her echoed the command. The entire forest was speaking to her, holding her in place with a web of sound. The path she had taken just moments before was gone, vanished into an impenetrable wall of whispering trees. She was trapped. She was one of them now. The search party was organized the next morning. They scoured the woods for days, calling out both Ella's and Leo's names, but the forest remained stubbornly silent for them. They found no tracks, no broken branches, no sign of a struggle. It was as if the two siblings had simply vanished into thin air, After a week, the official search was called off. But one of the volunteers, a determined local who knew the forest's dark reputation, went back one last time. He didn't find Ella, but he did find her phone, lying half-buried in the damp leaves near an ancient, twisted oak tree. The screen was cracked, but the battery miraculously had a sliver of life left. He saw that the audio recorder had been activated. His fingers shaking, he pressed play. At first, all he heard was the sound of frantic breathing and a woman's desperate, muffled sobs. Then, through the static, a chorus of soft, sibilant whispers emerged, growing clearer and clearer. And the final chilling words recorded on that phone, spoken in 100 overlapping ghostly voices, were not "stay." They were "welcome home." If this story gave you goosebumps, hit that follow button and subscribe for more spine-tingling horror tales. Thank you for listening.